Hello there, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to BTV, BetterThanVegas here, and in the background I have Call of Duty Black Ops 3, because I don't really have footage for what I'm about to review. I am reviewing Power Rangers the movie. Yep, that one, the most recent outing of it, interpretation, whatever you want to call it. And I went into the theater expecting the worst. I really was. After watching the preview for it looked like Twilight meets Super Suits. What was that old show? Greatest American Hero? Something like that? That was the entire, premise is he gets a super suit from aliens and now is off to save the day. That's what the movie looked like originally, but with angsty teenagers. I did not like that idea. And I was surprised. I really was. So, let's get into it. Basically, if you don't know the story, 5 teenagers, originally, and I'm going to quote this one, with attitude. Shit, you can't see the quote. Alright, there's some quotes. Boom. With attitude, in quotes. Get selected by a space wizard. I feel some of you pulling away from me. Hold on a second. Yes, a space wizard. Get selected by a space wizard to help protect their planet. Now, I don't know what he was thinking either, originally, of selecting teenagers with attitude. Terrible idea. That is a recipe for disaster. It really is. So after he picks them, he says, basically, you get to wear these cool fucking costumes and go fight monsters and bad guys. That's basically his sales pitch. You get don't call it spandex, because, oh, what is her name? One of the later seasons, tech support people says, they're not fucking spandex, and she tries to strangle some kids. That might be going a bit excessive. I don't think she tries to strangle kids.
Where do you get your spandex?
That is not spandex! The material is a self-assembling memory.
On second thought, she might have killed those kids if they hadn't pulled her off of them. Straight up, she'd have murdered the shit out of those kids. Anyway, we're losing our train of thought here. But you get the idea. Anyway, so they get their suits and they have to fight bad guys. Now, I'm sure there's a lot of questions such as, who agrees to that? And the answer, of course, is teenagers with attitude. I wink there. And maybe that's why he chose him, because they weren't going to say no. They're like, this is so awesome. Yeah, the 90s. So that's the original premise for the show. They have to stop a space witch, counter of the space wizard, of course, Rita Repulsa, from basically conquering the Earth. Not sure why she was so into the Earth, in all honesty. It's not that great of a place. I've been here a while. It kind of sucks. It really does. Alright, it doesn't suck. The people on it suck. We do. We do. I'm not against Rita Repulsa at all. She wants to wipe us off the face of the planet. I'm all for it. Let her do it. Anyway, so that is the premise of the original TV show, and that is what they try to follow up with in the new movie. And they were pretty close. They nailed the teenagers. They all had attitude. One of them was on the spectrum of autism, which, you know what? Go them for putting him in there. And before I'm going to say it, of course, it's the super nerdy one. Clearly, in the original series, Billy, who is the Nerd Ranger, was next in line to become the space wizard. He was that smart. He had Blu-rays working when everyone else was just getting to Betamax. And I'm almost not even joking. Each character, of course, has their own little set of predicaments in this. Of course, Billy being autistic. The jock-type character, Jason, he has basically not wanted to live up to the expectations of those around him because they're constantly pressuring him to, you could do whatever you want. You can write your own ticket. And he's just pissed off at it, so he decides, you know what? I'm going to do whatever the hell I feel like. I'm tired of this crap. And you know what? Go him. Go him. It'd be so nice to be able to say, you know what? I'm not living up to what you want me to do. Suck it. I can't do that, though. I'm too nice of a fucker. Anyway. Trini, or for whatever fucking reason, they keep calling her Dee Dee in the movie. Not sure why. She is an abnormal individual living in a completely normal family. Yeah, that's her entire thing. And that's what gives her angst. And you know what? I get it. Like, seeing a bunch of, like, normal people, and that's your, like, group, and you're like, that's not me at all. That sucks. Although they weren't my family. And, that's just been my existence anyway. Zach is the, I would say, adrenaline junkie, although they're kind of all adrenaline junkies in a way. It's kind of weird that way. Of course, this movie is so 90s, I was, like, surprised not to see, like, Tang pop up somewhere. I really was. It was so edgy in 90s. There was, like, all this extreme stuff, all this, like, fucking music playing that the 90s kids would love. It was really just, like, a weird timepiece that I didn't entirely approve of, in all honesty. But it was like, alright, yep, that's exactly what the 90s was like. And as they're going through, they start introducing all the characters. You know, this is whoever. They start off with Zach. No, not Zach. Bah. Jason and Billy's friendship, which is more of like a you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours sort of thing. But it ends up being like a really nice friendship. You actually feel for them. You're like, oh, these two are getting along. And that's almost entirely because Jason's a stand-up dude. He really is. He is an awesome guy in this. They end up meeting up in detention. And Jason stands up for Billy. In such an amazing way, too. Just, mwah. Such a plop to that one. So, Jason stands up for Billy, so they kind of team up. You kind of see some of the other characters there. You see Kimberly, who ends up becoming the Pink Ranger. I don't feel like I'm spoiling too much, because if you've seen the original show, you know all this. But if you're new, Kimberly becomes the Pink Ranger. Clearly, you're going to see it in every trailer everywhere. Look, here it is. Check that out. The Pink Ranger's Kimberly. Shocker. Anyway, she's in detention because she was a terrible person. I'm not going to go into the specifics, but it was really surprising. And I give them points for going into left field for that one. So they're in detention. Jason helps out Billy. Billy then later helps out Jason, gets him some wheels, and they end up going to a quarry that apparently Billy's dad had taken him to a bunch of times when they were kids. There at the quarry already is Zach and Trini. Trini's doing like yoga or something crazy. I'm not sure. And Zach's just chilling there. That's kind of like his hideout spot. So they all run up into each other. And then Billy finds, through a series of explosions, I'm not even fucking joking, he just goes kaboom with some shit, the power coins, which then later lead them to meet up Zordon. At first, they go through, you know, the normal tropes of, what do? We have these awesome, incredible abilities. Look at all the stuff we can do. And it goes wrong. It goes wrong for Billy because he overthinks something. But it leads them to Zordon. So in all, it was like, you know, one of those bad things that actually ended well. So after they meet Zordon, they go, Zordon lets them know, hey, you're the Power Rangers. Your job is to protect your planet from the forces of evil. In this case, Rita Repulsa. Rita Repulsa is... Ooh, I feel like that's a spoiler if I give that away. I don't want to do that. Alright, she is the green chick you see throughout the thing. Screw it, I'm not going to spoil it up too much anyway. She used to be the Green Power Ranger in the movie series, which I'm like going to call off on its own thing in the movies, if they make more. She was the Green Power Ranger, and she and Zordon used to be on a team together. She ended up going power crazy and now wants Zeo Crystal, which is this source of life energy on Earth. I think that's the easiest way to describe it. And she wants that in order to amass phenomenal cosmic power. I'm going to quote the genie on that shit. As she begins to fight off, you know, the last few remaining of Zordon's Rangers, because not only is he a space wizard, he was also one of the original Power Rangers in the movie. Again, there's a disconnect between what the movie does, what the show does, and that's because they have to move the movie plot along, so it has to be different enough that they can shovel it all in into the timepiece they have, and the same enough that people aren't, like, upset, like, I can't believe you changed all this. Zordon basically kamikazes Rita. That's kind of what he does. He basically puts her into stasis and dies in the process. I know what you're saying, but how the hell is he in the wall? Alpha 5... the robot assistant of the Power Rangers, who is there to basically give them training and be kind of like a friend/mentor. That's kind of his job. He gives them a lot of assistance. He is basically like the highest end of support they can get. Next to Zordon, but Zordon's kind of a dick in this. If you ever seen the original, he is like the nicest guy, straight up. And in this, he's kind of a dick. To be fair, everyone's a dick in this movie. Straight up, everyone is almost a complete ass. Save for Jason and Billy. Jason is actually a stand-up dude, and Billy is, of course, on the spectrum of autism, so he can't really be too much of a dick. He's just too straightforward for it. So, as they are training, because Zordon has let them know that they need to stop Rita Repulsa, they find out that they are currently working up to what you see in the trailers, the suits of armor that the Power Rangers in this universe. Again, not too good with movie jargon. I'm still working on it. This is my first movie review. Bite me. They are working their way up to the armor, because the armor is what signifies them as Power Rangers. Again, as anyone who's seen the show knows, that's what makes them the Power Rangers, is the armor. And something else, but we'll get to that in a bit. So as they are training up, they find out some ulterior motives behind everybody. They do a lot of character development in this. It was like 3 or 4 episodes of filler worth of character development in terms of like actual Power Rangers. So basically almost the entire movie is character development. Like almost all 2 hours. In fact, the actual like fighting that are what the Rangers are known for takes maybe 10 minutes, 15 at most. They did the kind of Godzilla bait and switch with Cranston again, which kind of pissed me off. And Godzilla really pissed me off. I was very upset. The fact I was like, Bryan Cranston, the dude from Breaking Bad, versus Godzilla, King of the Monsters. And that never happened. Spoiler alert, he dies off in like the first 15 minutes. And then you're stuck with fucking No-Face the entire rest of the movie. We're getting sidetracked. So anyway, this entire thing is character development. It is very emotional for a lot of it. There's actually a lot of like heartfelt things. Like I was like, damn, I know those fucking feelings. I really did. I was like, I don't want to spoil too much of it, but Zach is actually a very caring dude. Straight up, he is actually like the crazy sweetheart. Think kind of like the Joker. That's a weird analogy for a good guy, but he has no problem throwing his own life like straight through a wall if it helps out those around him. He does this constantly throughout it. Really, the weaker of the sets was probably Trini. Again, they kind of just did this like one scene for her and that was it. And it was the whole I am not normal, but my family is completely normal thing. And like I said, I get it. I know those feels. I've been in that situation. It's like, wow, everyone around me is a completely average Joe, and I am clinically fucking insane. I get it. So yeah, the whole, I'm normal, or they're normal, I'm not. Whoop-de-doo. So she was probably the weakest character. Kimberly, you find out, was a terrible person. Like, amazingly so, actually. Like, to the point where I'd have been like, wow, I don't want to hang out with you. Like, that level of, like, mean girls shit. Again, not going to go into specifics, don't want to ruin it. So as they help each other to overcome their personal issues, the way they view themselves, which is their biggest hindrance, is the fact that none of them like themselves. They're in this weird juxtaposition where they can't be themselves, but they can't really be anybody else until they are around each other, in which case then they start building this great bond, kind of like a family, and it's really cool to see them as this group, as this unit that is there for each other. It's super nice, and I really appreciated it. I'm bummed out. I was going to say pretty bummed. It's a slight bumming, really, that it took 99% of the movie to get to, like, the Power Ranger stuff. Because for the majority of the part, they don't get their armor. And that's what makes them a Power Ranger, because that leads to the fight scenes, that leads to all the cool stuff they see. The actual fight scenes themselves in this movie are so fucking good. I can't even make that up. I wish I could show you my favorite part of not only like them fighting, but the teamwork they displayed while doing it. It was fucking superb. Like, it was worthy of like an award almost. It was so cool. Basically, they have to fight Rita's monsters called putties. Again, anyone who's seen the show know they are the scrubbiest monster like ever created. They're called putties, made out of fucking clay and shit. Like, easily breakable, easily destroyable. They're just not worth the effort. The actual scene I'm talking about is they are underneath, like, this weird water basin. Where it's, like, air in this cave, water, air, and then their ship's underneath it. Because they find Zordon in this spaceship, apparently. Very different from the original show. And so they leap up through it as the putties are beginning to swarm the base. And they tear through the putties in the water in this beautiful choreographic moment that not only showcased how awesome they were, but how good of teamwork they had because of all the stuff they had went through together. It was amazing. Like, I'm still gushing over it. And this is fucking, like, literally 12 hours later at this point. It was so good. They have a situation beforehand that leads to them finally getting to their armor. And I'm not going to spoil it, but it was really shocking, actually. And it actually did some character growth for Zordon, too, which was kind of cool. You find out that, trying to say it in a way that it's not a spoiler, that Zordon is, like I said, he's a dick, but he's very selfish in this. He's mostly in this for himself to get vengeance against Rita, which, again, was not in the original show at all. Really, there's not much else to talk about now. I've pretty much given you, like, the summary of the movie. I hope I didn't give away too much. But anyway, the one issue I felt like is that some of it was just a bit too long in terms of there not being enough action. And if they'd have taken away 15 minutes of character building and added that to, like, the actual fight stuff, this would have been, like, almost immensely better. Like, in terms of, like, what most people would give it as a rating. Because that's what a lot of people wanted to see, was they wanted to see the Power Rangers fight people, not just this group of people fight monsters. Although, personally, I really fell in love with the group of people. The cast did such a good job nailing their roles. And I just loved their synergy. The way they all connected with each other and played off, and it was so good. We gotta talk a bit more about the fight stuff. As you get through all the character development and how we all mostly wanted more Ranger stuff, because there wasn't much Ranger stuff, we were all very disappointed with that. Like I said, if they'd have just shaved off 15 minutes of story stuff, which is mostly the cinematography's fault, because they did a lot of weird cuts and angles that didn't need to be done, that, like, drew stuff out that you didn't need. Like, when they first fall into the water, the accident that went good, they basically do slow motion to show them finding this thing, which is actually just like a mirror reflection. And it took a solid minute and a half, and it was completely not needed. It was, I don't know why they went slow motion for it. Don't know, but it was things like that, where they would shift, like, how the bike showed pavement, rather than just showing him quickly, like, going off and then giving, like, a road sign to where he was going. It was weird. Super 90s on some of it, though. Like I said earlier, it was a very 90s-esque movie. So, as they go in and begin to team up, they are currently in the process of, like, getting ready to attack Rita. And it leads to this big thing, and it is this big twist that you don't see coming, but if you're paying attention to movies, you know is coming in a way. It was like the greatest team building exercise. And the thing I'm not addressing right now is the Zords and Megazord. Yes, they're separate things. The Zords are the animal robot companion to the Rangers. Each Ranger gets their own Zord to represent, you know, them as the Ranger. The Red Ranger gets the Tyrannosaurus, Blue Ranger gets the Triceratops, Black Ranger gets the Mastodon, the Pink Ranger gets the Pterodactyl, and the Yellow Ranger gets the Saber-tooth Tiger. I have to say it like that because that is how Trini, back in the show, used to say it, and I believe her name was like Thui Trang? Damn it, I'm going to have to look that up. Thanks for the edit. You're welcome. It's going to pop up on screen in case you haven't figured it out yet. It already did. Shut up, you're ignoring. Stop it. Stop looking at the screen. You're getting stupid again. You're already stupid. I know. And I want to adjust that once I'm finished with the thing. Because personally, I originally was not for the Megazord. I wasn't. I found it at a Toys R Us while looking at stuff. I go, hey there, and I go, what the fuck? And then I instantly see it says Power Rangers. I go, no. No. I was pissed. Because that wasn't any of the Megazords I ever saw. And it wasn't like any of them. and not in a good way either. It was unlike any of them in a bad way. I, again, hated the Megazord. Loved the Zord design themselves. They looked amazing. They were really well detailed, and I actually enjoyed them more as separate entities than the actual Megazord itself. Again, I didn't want to like talk about it till after we were finished, so I can give you like the quick summary still. So they end up fighting Rita, as you see in the culmination, and they finally end up forming the Megazord, which takes all 5 Zords. I want to say something really quick about Rita and her assistant bad guy, aka Goldar. Again, longtime fans of the show. This is what Goldar looked like. He was like half of a freaking chimera, or a sphinx, if you will. That's what he looked like. This one, as you've all seen through the trailers, is completely liquid gold. Hence the name of Goldar. See what we're doing there? Good. And Rita summons him, and I was actually very surprised of the dynamic they had, because he doesn't speak, and you would think he's just a brainless thing that Rita controls, and that doesn't prove to be the case. In all honesty, it looks more like this Goldar cares more about Rita than in the original series, and you know what? Props for that. So they end up fighting them, and I'm not going to spoil what... If I say they win or they lose, it would not really be a spoiler, because we already all know they won. None of us have to say shit about it. We already know they won. The end. They're the good guys. What kind of crazy fucking superhero movie would let the bad guys win at the end? That would be some insane shit. Now I want to see it. Anyway, we're getting sidetracked. No, I enjoyed most of it. I was laughing the whole way through, and I realized that the Avengers and the Guardians of the Galaxy set this team dynamic for movies that everyone has been following, and it's a good thing. And these were the best teammates ever. They really were. They had great synergy. They teamed up well with each other, both, you know, as like, I assume as actors and as the actual characters on screen. They all felt invested in each other, and you actually could see that they cared, and it was so good for the, for the movie. And I was just more impressed with it than I went in with such a low bar. I really did, because I looked at it, I saw, oh, it's Twilight with super suits. Oh, fucking joy. They're going to ruin this. And I was worried because it was Lionsgate. I'm like, Lionsgate does all these fucking movies where it's these angsty teens and no one can understand them but their one true love. And I was like, oh, shut up. And I hate those fucking movies. Divergent, The Maze Runner, the fucking Twilight series. And you know what? Not to say anything against a lot of those, but A, I cannot stand Kristen Stewart fucking face in the way that she acts. She has the same problem that the kid from Godzilla did, was that you see them and they have no expression. They're just stoic as fuck the entire movie. And you just look and go, why are you here? We could have gotten someone with some fucking facial muscle switching system that could have replaced you. I was pleasantly surprised. I really was. I was laughing the whole way through, thanks to the way the team chemistry worked and their dynamics. I really found some stuff that was probably not funny, super funny for me, because I'm an old school, day one, day of the dumpster, fucking Power Rangers fan. I haven't stopped since the fucking show came out. And I'll admit, I've skimmed through the last 2 series, like Dino Charge and whatever the fuck the ninja one is. I haven't seen it yet. So, yeah. I didn't even care for Dino Charge because it was just like a knockoff of Dino Thunder. And Dino Thunder was actually really good because it like really showcases how much of a war god Tommy is in the Power Rangers universe. He is OP. What am I saying? He is OP. He's a warrior god. He really is. He just like tries to solo giant monsters and shit constantly. It's amazing. Anyway, and I believe he could do it if they'd let him. So I enjoyed the team chemistry. I enjoyed how funny it was. I laughed at a bunch of really stupid stuff. Like, I was actually stupidly laughing when they had Rita Repulsa scream, "Make my monster grow." Because she actually... Elizabeth Banks nailed that without being shrilly. It was really good. Points to her. Like I said, I went in low bar. It blew me away how like much better it was than I was expecting. I guess when you expect nothing, anything is better. But it actually was a good movie. I enjoyed it. I would totally recommend for you to see it. As everyone knows, I have a weird fucking grading scale of it's bad, it's not good, it's not bad, and it's good. It's good. It's good. It's a good movie. And it's specifically for my kids. If I had kids, that would be who the movie would be for. It would be, hey, your dad was into this really weird thing, but it was super cool when I was a kid. Let me go take you to see your generation's rendition of it. And like, okay, Daddy. And I'd take them with. They're like, that's super cool, Daddy. They turn into robots and the monster. Ah! That's what the kids would want. And you know what? It did that pretty well. I honestly want to go to Toys R Us right now and buy the fucking 5 separate Megazords, because they split them off for this, and actually buy all 5 of them as a fucking group so I can play with them and transform them into a giant one. And again, I didn't care for the giant one. I was okay with the little ones. The actual little design for the Zords was cool. It was fucking cool. The big Megazord, not so much. I don't know why they split them all off into 5 separate pieces, or why it is all of a sudden the Rangers' masks fucking went up and you could see their faces while they were doing it. But I enjoyed the Megazord, or not the Megazord, the Zords themselves. I enjoyed the CGI, actually. It was really well done. Like, Goldar is constantly shifting and moving, like, physically. Like, his gold is drooping and adjusting constantly. It's really cool. The putties themselves weren't obviously the dudes in suits going... Those weren't it. But they were little golem dudes, and they were pretty cool. Again, really good work on the special effects. If I had some complaints, obviously I do, because it's not like, oh, it's the perfect movie. It's not. It was too long of the character building. They could have shrunk it down, and they could have taken away some stupid cuts and camera angles and shit. There wasn't enough fighting, of course, because it was only like 5 to 10 minutes of fighting. I'm actually decreasing the amount of time the more I talk about it. I'm going to say 10 minutes on, like, as a rough estimate. 10 minutes of fighting. And I don't include, like, I mean, actually fighting Rita and her monsters and shit. Let's see. I did not care the fact that Trini was the weakest character in this. She really was. She was just angsty to be angsty, it felt like. It was kind of weak. And other than that, I really enjoyed this. And again, I'm an OG Power Rangers fan. Haven't stopped fucking since it came out. Really pathetic on my part. I'm so alone. But it's my fucking, it's my jam. It really is. I went in there, Green Ranger hat, Green Ranger t-shirt, and of course, my Legacy Morpher. Oh, we gotta talk about this real quick while I remind myself. One of the big issues I saw with a lot of people was product placement, which personally, I don't mind. I honestly don't care if you want to sell your product in a movie. It's a fucking movie. Someone's got to fund that shit, and if you help me fucking watch the movie I want to see, you're good in my book. I gotta go to Krispy Kreme now, because they fucking sold me on those fucking crack-filled donuts. And those donuts do have crack in them. Don't get fucking kidding with yourself. They cause a hell of an addiction. But yeah, there's a good chunk of the movie, and I'm gonna spoil this little bit, but while Rita Repulsa's rampaging, she goes to the Krispy Kreme, she goes inside, she grabs a donut, she eats that donut. That seems so fucking out of place, and it was. But holy shit, was it so fucking funny to me. Straight up, I was laughing so hard. Because it was such a casual dick move to do. I'd just be like, you know what, I've got this so fucking well, I'm just gonna have my Krispy Kreme. The end. And really, everyone in the movie was a dick. If there's nothing else to take away from this, is that A, it was actually a good movie. Especially if you're a fan, you actually go, you know what, that was pretty fucking cool. And I'm talking OG fan, not like, you know, I've gotten into it recently, I kind of liked it. No, if you were there day one and nostalgia based like I am, this is actually a really good fucking movie. It really is. I was like, you know what? Go these guys. This was actually a blast. I can't wait to see more of them. But no, it was a good movie, and everyone in the movie, every main character who has a name attached to them, is a dick. Straight up. That's what you can take away from this. Thank you all very much for tuning in to BTV, Better Than Vegas, signing out. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, ring the bell, do all the nice stuff you know that helps me out. Thanks a bunch. And again, go see the movie. It was awesome. Alright. Better Than Vegas, out.